to zoom in on the economic crisis of 2008. So you had, it seemed like you guys had all the momentum in the world going. Harley owned 100% of Buell by then?
Yes.
And then 2008 crisis happened. That was bad. They had a change in leadership at Harley. CEO didn't ride motorcycles, and he kind of wanted to stick with the knitting on, you know, whatever they were doing. But you had so much momentum going. You talk about your victory in 2009 at the AMA.
Yeah, we won a racing championship in a kind of a hybrid class, which was fun and it was exciting, and all the things are in the right place. 2008 was our best sales year ever. Harley sales.
How many bikes did you put on the road?
Our last year was just under 15,000, which is not huge, but it's really significant. I mean, we were a lot bigger than Moto Guzzi. We were, those were the numbers. Once you're over 10,000 units a year, you really have a company. You're good. And we actually were profitable, except Harley was charging us a surcharge on every engine, which this is so crazy because they had made, their leadership was like a bunch of drunken sailors for a little while. So the fact that they crashed in 2009 was not a surprise, to me, because I'd be in meetings going, whoa, guys, what are you doing? And they go, shut up. You're just when you start things on your own, when you're an entrepreneur, you see waste easier. And, they had bought this big Briggs and Stratton plant to build, because they were going to build 500,000 bikes a year. Well, they weren't building that. They were building 300, and the gap from 3 to 2.5 is a big gap that you shouldn't be buying stuff to do, but they literally did that. And then they kept the plant where the Sportsters, which had built all the engines, they didn't want to shut it down because they didn't want to be in trouble with the union. So now they had 2 undercapacity plants that they were paying all the overhead for and everything. So they put a $1,200 per engine surcharge on us. So at 15,000 units a year, that's $15 million worth of profit down the drain. So when the new guy came in, he goes, well, Buell's not making any money because that, and you go, oh, for God's sake. And after he shut Buell down, he wound up shutting one of those plants anyhow and consolidating and doing the things that should have been done before that. But you go, and then we weren't in all the dealers, and the dealers were scared. So some of the dealers were like, why are you doing anything with Buell? We were in a minority of the dealers. It was a really bad thing. It was driven by some bad facts, which really upset me. With the people go, well, Buell never made money. That's bullshit. They took the money and they used it to cover their own screw ups.
Yeah.
But what was done was done, and that's that stuff happens corporately, which I don't like. Beyond it happening to us, this is a bad stuff that happens in corporate America that we need to look at ourselves and become more socially conscious and giving up jobs while we pad ourselves or pay ourselves a $6 million a year salary while you're shutting plants and firing people and sending things overseas. That is unconscionable, and that's caused a lot of trouble. And in the long run, it ruins companies, but beyond that, it's ruining it's ruining lives and doing stuff. So that stuff upsets me. So we'll not have that discussion any further because I'll get real wound up about it. But then you go ahead and you try things. We did things with EBR, and it looked like it was really going to take off. We designed some great products, but once again, we were caught by a big company changing direction.
Before we get to EBR, you went online and you announced to your customers that Buell was no longer going to sell motorcycles, but that Harley would honor the warranties and things. And you looked like a broken man. I mean, it was so sad for all of us to see it. It was like, oh my God, what happened? It looked like you were caught by surprise and a ghost had just walked over your grave or something like that. Did you see this coming with Harley?
No.
And you had 200 employees?
I knew they were making mistakes. I knew they were headed for trouble. I knew they had brought in a new guy to turn them around. I was stunned that they were doing what they were doing. And of course, the other thing is, we had a couple hundred people working there that I knew had lost their jobs. I knew what the ramifications were going to be this down the line. So it was more than, oh, my business is gone. It's like, oh, hell. Harley's making a huge mistake. It's going to hurt them in the long run. It's going to hurt all these people in the long run. It's going to hurt their dealers, because I know why Vaughn bought Buell, and it was important for Harley. And these guys had screwed it up, and you just go,
yeah, I'm sorry.
But
3 weeks later, so first you get hit on a motocross trail, and then Formula One cancels what you built your bike for. And now Harley shuts you down. And 3 weeks later, was it 3 weeks? You announced EBR, Erik Buell Racing.
Yeah. I mean,
I listened to a podcast the other day, and they were playing that song. I know you like music. I get knocked down, but I get up again. And that was the lead in that they associated with your name. So here you are trying to get up again with Erik Buell Racing. So that was a new company that you started from scratch.
Yes.
Even though you were wounded and you lost your 200 employees and all that. Was it partly an attempt to salvage a few of those employees to go with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I still was a believer that, American sport bike company would work. And so I kind of sat down again and said, okay, now my company is changing direction, but I still want to get to there. So what are the things that I could do? And the first thing I said is, okay, well, bad news is it's broken. Good news is I'm away from those corporate idiots. Now we can actually get stuff done. I don't have a whole lot of money, but what I have, I'm going to put into this, because I wouldn't have made that money if Buell hadn't worked. And so all those employees and stuff who helped, and I got my bonuses for Harley, and I have some money in the bank. I'm going to take that money and invest it back into them, because I believe that America has some of the greatest engineers in the world. And I think our environment that we grow up in allows us to be free thinking. We're very fortunate that way. And now I can apply it without the corporate editing, which, again, had edited out a motocross bike 9 months before launch. And it had, killed off a turbo project when it was, everything meeting every goal, and which had, on and on and on, making this twin, which, we started, what became the one that became the V-Rod. That was started through market research by Vaughn. But then people internally decide they wanted it because they wanted it. So again, the kind of stupid corporate decisions that are ego-based rather than how are we really going to make money for the business based. It's like, okay, those are all gone. So let's go. So what I want to do is I want to race, but I'm not going to race. I want to race to rebuild the brand, but I'm not going to spend money. So I got to find sponsors. So I'll have a race division, but it's got to be funded from the outside. I will build motorcycles that are American made, and I want to team up and provide engineering services to an Asian. Well, that is actually what happened with Buell, because they had a bidder for it.
They did.
And they shut it down rather than have the bidder buy it and succeed.
Oh, geez.
And that's the truth. And that made a lot of people upset. A number of high-level executives at Harley left over that, because they went, that's not okay, that's wrong.
Yeah, that sounds evil. Here, I went black again. I went black out of sympathy for Harley shutting down Buell, or disgust, or whatever.